Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Dr. Stone. Last time around we had Weapons of Science, where the boys were able to, unearth, but they were able to save Yuzuriha from her stony imprisonment, and then they had to immediately pretty much run because Tsukasa was basically going to try to stop them from stopping him from enacting his plans. So they got away for a bit, and they headed over to a place somewhere like it's outside of Tokyo, definitely. But I don't know the specific name of it. But basically, a place where there are hot springs and volcanic ash, and it's the perfect place to make gunpowder, which is the only thing that can stop Tsukasa at this point. So yeah, that's pretty much where we left off. Is we have to invent a gun before he catches up with us. So yeah. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Dr. Stone. Here we go. Alright, they gotta pull out some bullshit as to how Senku lived, but I don't know, man. I don't know. You can do anything with science. Man, I ain't no scientist. I was always terrible about science. Mainly I didn't care, but that's just me. Obviously, if you like science, knock yourself out. Who cares? That's great, man. I was never really into science. With the exception of astronomy. I liked astronomy mainly just because it was just look at planet, and that was really it. That's all my astronomy classes were. But I enjoyed that, Everything else I just didn't care for. In fact, I had a science teacher in 7th grade. What class was it specifically? I don't know, because, there's multiple science classes. I can't remember which one that specifically was, but it was the science class that you had to take. And my science teacher in 7th grade said, I think might have told my mom, during a parent-teacher night, basically just said, Alex does not live up to his potential. He's not living up to his potential. And every so often my mom and I will quote that, and we just kind of giggle, because it's just kind of funny, And there's a part of me that's like, oh, I didn't live up to my potential in that class. But that is always followed by, yeah, because I didn't care. She wasn't a good teacher anyway, so most of my science teachers were not that interesting. So, it's like, yeah, if my teacher was Senku, maybe, I probably would be the Taiju in that dynamic, I'd have to slim down a bit, but yeah, It's like, that would probably be me. It's like, I don't know what any of this is, but here, just go up to the shop owner. It's like, he needs a Raspberry Pi. He needs a Raspberry Pi. Did he need that? That is such a small computer, I know that that's a computer, by the way. I know that that's like a microcomputer, so. So yeah, I don't know. You probably just needed that for the size for the rocket. I love the idea that those 3 dolls are still up there. They've been watching over them for 3,700 years, But yeah, it's just like, I was never a science guy. I was always a history guy. That's kind of the thing. And if you watch our Doctor Who reactions or Vinland Saga or anything like that, that is mainly where my interest lies. Which, we talked about last episode, like using this show as a different perspective on history. It's like, what you expect is like, oh, we're rebuilding civilization and all this science stuff, but there is this aspect of history to it of, this is how humans evolved, basically, how they created these different things and how we have to basically speed up the process, So that's the thing is, there is that aspect of history, which is honestly one of the reasons why I really love this show, We're only 4 episodes in. It's crazy. But yeah, it's like, I will say, it's like, I always admire science. When someone can just be like, here's some crazy thing that we can do with science, and I'm just like, hell yeah, man. It's like when Walter White explains how to make meth and stuff. As a kid, I watched Bill Nye the Science Guy. So it's all that interesting stuff, but it's interesting for me to see, but I never really engage with science that much. So that's the thing about me. But it's funny that I bring up good old Walter White, because that was kind of the thing with Breaking Bad, is I don't think they specifically tell you everything of how to make meth, because they don't want that, they don't want to get in trouble with that of like, oh, you're showing everyone in America how to just make crystal meth, So like they purposefully like kept some things out of it, simplified it so it's not the full thing, Whereas here, I love that is just how to make gunpowder, It's like, oh yes, with these simple things, you too can make an explosive, You too can make a gun or a bomb. Don't do this, children at home. It's interesting because on this specific website that I watched Dr. Stone on, it gives it a rating of PG-13. Now, I don't know if that's like an agreed upon thing. Probably not, because most of the time it would probably be like TVMA. So this is an unofficial website, so don't be talking too much about where I'm watching these shows, but yeah, it's like I don't know what the official rating would be for this show, but honestly, I think this could probably be good. This would probably be fine for children, Well, I guess it depends on what we define as children, So I don't know. I don't know how many like 8-year-olds are going to be watching Dr. Stone, But honestly, yeah, it's like this show doesn't really seem too violent or anything. So I think like younger people could watch this, Like the biggest thing is, Tsukasa murdering people, but honestly, because it's like, well, it's the old, it's the old thing of like, well, we're gonna have an almost R-rated movie, but to avoid the R rating, we make all the enemies robots, so they're not bleeding. They're just spilling oil or something. It's like, wow, that doesn't get you an R rating because that's not violence against humans. It's like I feel like the stone statues kind of work on that too. So yeah, but interesting stuff. Interesting stuff with this. I like that Yuzuriha was like ready to sacrifice herself. I also just like the haircut. I mean, Yuzuriha, she's freaking adorable, and then is like, oh, you cut her hair shorter, and it's like, well, now she's really adorable. It's like, it's ridiculous, This is like ridiculous how cute she is. So, but yeah, but she's a freaking champ. She's a freaking champ. She was ready to sacrifice herself, but so was he. He was not willing to sacrifice her, but he was willing to sacrifice himself. Oh boy, oh boy. I don't know how this is gonna resolve. I have no idea how this is going to resolve, but... Oh, and then the whole thing of, like, Taiju saying, like, oh, well, is it okay if I wait to tell you what I wanted to say until after we, save all of humanity? And it's just like, brother, just fucking say it now. That's the one thing where I'm like, dude, do not wait until the show is over. Just get in a relationship now. Just do it. Just do it. It's like that's stupid. Where it's just like, oh, we have this important task of saving humanity, so it wouldn't feel right for me to say this now. So can I tell you when we finish this? And it's just like, brother, just tell her. Just tell her, and then like everything will still happen the same way. Like everything will still happen the same way, and she knows. I mean, I guess that's the thing, is he doesn't think she knows, but she knows what you are going to say. You know what you're going to say. Senku knew what you were going to say. Tsukasa probably knew what you were going to say. So it's just like, it's... Yeah, I don't really get that of the, once we've saved humanity, then I'll tell you. And it's just like, dude, just fucking tell her now. Tell her now, and then you can be in a relationship, Unless the fear is, as soon as you confess your love, she will get pregnant. But at which point, you know, then the two of you are kind of busy with a kid, and you're gonna have to leave Senku on his own. But still, like, no, just fucking tell her. Just tell her. She's so friggin' cute. Just do it. Just do it. So that's my one thing about this episode. Is just like just tell her. Just tell her, and like don't make her wait more. Yeah. And then just seeing, you know, Senku's life of science was really interesting. I like too that it wasn't that he like, oh, from birth he was always interested in science. He was just like, no, just at one point when he was a kid, he's like, I want to go to space. I'm gonna go to space as quickly as possible. And he's like, well, I'm gonna need to learn science for that. And then he just learned science, you know? Like, it's not a thing of like, oh, he's an exceptionally gifted genius that, you know, had all this talent and knowledge from the very beginning. Like, you know, like a kind of anime trope. It's like, no. At one point, he was just like, I want to do this thing. The only way to do it is science. I will learn science. And he just went from 0 to 10 billion in learning science, you know? Whereas Taiju and Yuzuriha were just, you know, they're interested, but not interested enough to be scientists. They're interested in helping him, you know? That's the thing. They're like, oh, this is cool, and he's a cool guy. Let's help him. And they help him, even though they don't understand what's going on, you know? So yeah, it's just like, I like that. I really like that. That it's just like, no, it's not that he was this gifted savant from birth, you know? He came out the womb, you know, reciting Einstein. It's just like, no, one day he just decided to learn, and he did, and it seems his father, you know, helped him out. Well, father, grandfather, I don't know. I don't know if that's his father, like, if that's his grandfather, or if his father just has very white hair and a bit of scruff, so it just makes him look way older, you know? That's one of the problems of anime characters with white hair, is they tend to look a lot older. Like Gentle Criminal. Gentle Criminal has that white hair and the mustache, and obviously he's got the old-timey demeanor, but he's like 35, you know? He's like super young, actually, so maybe Senku's dad has that too. Or maybe it's his grandfather, I don't know. Whoever it was sold his car so that he could buy stuff for Senku, which is, that's just cool. Yeah, and I like too, just the grin that he has when he's selling his car is just like, you can see where Senku gets it. It's like, yep, that makes sense. I like that, so. But he can't abandon science. You can do whatever you want with science, so. Oh boy. So yeah, interesting stuff. Minus that whole waiting to tell Yuzuriha. It's just like, just tell her. Just tell her. She is so cute. Just tell her already. But whatever. So. Whatever, it's fine. Maybe that'll be in the last episode. I know actually that they just wrapped up season 4 part 2 of Dr. Stone, and I think there's only one more part left. They're gonna do like season 4 part 3, and that's gonna wrap up the anime, I think. So maybe that's when, maybe at the end of that's when Taiju will finally tell Yuzuriha. So assuming the two of them haven't died. Which is possible. This is a dangerous world they're in now, so. And also we have to go find Blonde Girl, who inexplicably is also awake, so. We'll have to find out why. We'll have to find out how she got out, so. But yeah, that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Dr. Stone reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.